Welcome to the Engineerable channel. This is the Gel Blaster STARFIRE XL. It is the nighttime version of the Gel Blaster Surge XL, which is an awesome blaster. And if you want to see a full review of the Surge XL, go check out my other videos of that. I even did some velocity testing and accuracy testing, so you can see if this is the blaster for you or not. But now, back to the STARFIRE XL. I suspect that the STARFIRE XL should be very similar to the Surge XL and perform similarly also. It has all the same features from what I can see. The only difference to me looks like it's the color, and also the hopper has a special STARFIRE hopper that has UV LEDs inside of it that light up the gels as they come down. Now there's a few mods to this blaster that I'm going to recommend making that are going to improve your nighttime play experience. So keep watching to learn more about those. So the specs for this blaster are the same. It holds 1,000 gillettes, up to 12 gillettes per second. Minimum velocity is 170 FPS, and the maximum velocity is 250 FPS. Let's have a look at what's in the box! Alright, so we got this hopper pre-filled with gillettes, and the top is even sealed with aluminum. Now these are not glow gillettes. These are practice gillettes. These will not glow in the dark, so don't even try that. These are to practice during the day. The reason that they don't pre-fill it with glow gillettes is that they claim that the glow gillettes deteriorate in quality after a few days of being soaked. However, that's not really my experience. I've left them soaked for weeks, months, I don't know, they still work. Here's a shoulder strap. This shoulder strap does not have a Gel Blaster logo like the Surge one did. There's a USB-C charging cable. Looks like they included a regular feed neck if you don't want to use the STARFIRE feed neck, but having an extra feed neck is good, and I'll show you why later in the video. Alright, and we have the awesome blaster itself. Check it out. Further down in the box, here's a velocity adjustment tool. You're going to need this tool in order to adjust the velocity. And the shoulder stock. Let's see what's behind the scenes in here. Okay, so there's 5,000 glow-in-the-dark gillettes. You're going to have to soak these before you can start playing with the glow-in-the-dark gillettes. So you need to soak these for, it says 2 hours. You can do 2 to 4 hours or so. And I highly recommend the Gillette Depot by Gel Blaster too. That's a great thing for soaking your gillettes and dispensing them into the hopper. Comes with a sticker. And instead of instructions, they give you a QR code to go download the instructions. And some cheap safety glasses. As I always say, I recommend using some good quality goggles rather than these cheap safety glasses, because you don't want any chance of stuff getting by and hitting you in the eye. And in my experience, these safety glasses fog up easier too than good quality goggles. The goggles that I recommend are the Revision Locust military goggles. You can buy those military surplus down to about $15 a pair. So there's no reason not to have some better eye protection than this. So here is everything that it comes with in the box. Physically, the STARFIRE XL does appear to be an exact copy of the Gel Blaster Surge XL. So a lot of what I'm going to say applies to either blaster. I'm not going to go into as much detail about all the features of this blaster because it's so similar to the Surge XL. If you want to see all the features, go watch my Surge XL video. I'm just going to cover the major features and not all the fine details. Now it comes with some little protective plastic here, which I find strange on this and this. Seems like a waste of protective plastic when you already have the rest of the packaging. But you got to remove that first. So let's talk about this blaster body. I've played with the Surge XL a little bit, and I found it to be a really nice blaster, and everyone who's played with it really likes it. The only thing I had the complaints about really was the size of the trigger hole, but some people who have even bigger fingers than me have used it, and they never said there was any issues with that. Maybe they just didn't want to complain. That seems like maybe a non-issue. I just think they could make this trigger hole a little bit bigger for your finger. This blaster has these 2 mini tactical rails down here underneath, so you could attach a flashlight or a laser on the front. A lot of people like to attach lasers on the front, but generally that's frowned upon because you shine it in someone's eye, you could do some eye damage depending on the strength of the laser. And then on the bottom too, you can also attach some other accessories. But one thing that's cool is that these hopper feed neck adapters, they actually attach on to tactical rail style attachments. So it can go on here, and you can also put it down here. So you could have an extra bottle down here of ammo ready to go, so that when you run out of ammo at the top, you can just swap your hopper over or unscrew the ammo bottle here, put it on top, and then screw your empty ammo bottle down here. So you could start off playing with 2 full hoppers, one down here in storage and one up here being used. Then when you run out of ammo, you can either unscrew this or you can slide this off and then slide off the one on the bottom, put it on the top. Imagine it's full of ammo, so you got to keep it upside down, and then slide the one on the bottom on the front here. This one does open the battery compartment here. That's not really going to work there. Same on the back here. Nope, it fits on the bottom here, although that's a little bit more in the way. But yeah, so you can have two hoppers like that at once. So if you're playing at night, you'd probably want to switch the hopper only instead of the hopper and the hopper feed neck. So in that case, you would unscrew the top one since it's empty, and then grab the bottom one, unscrew it, flip the blaster over, and then screw the bottom one in. Put your empty one on the bottom here, and then you're good to keep blasting. The power switch is down here along with the USB charging port. There's a few drain holes down here, so if it gets water in here, then it'll drain out the bottom. Turn it on. There's some LEDs here, and these LEDs indicate the charge status of the battery. So 4 LEDs is full, 3 is starting to deplete, 2 it's down pretty low and it's going to deplete pretty quickly in my experience. And then 1 you're at the end, it's going to turn off on you. There are some LEDs up here that glow for the nighttime play. The LEDs up here are very annoying. We had to duct tape these LEDs and duct tape this so that people couldn't see us at night. And in addition, use a modified hopper where I've coated it with Plasti-Dip to black out the UV glow from the gels. Otherwise, the lights in here and the gel balls, they glow really brightly and someone can see you easily and target you. And then if they don't have a blaster that glows like this, you can't see them. So it really gives away your location. If you want to see how to mod your hopper like this, go check out my other video I made about blacking out the hopper. So one of the first mods I'm going to do is open this up and either remove, put a switch on, or relocate these LEDs to the feed neck to make an internal tracer mod. And for the LEDs on the back, you know, they're good to have because they tell you what the battery status is, but they're way too bright. What I might do here is 3D print an adapter that fits on this sort of pseudo rail thing here that snaps on there and covers these up and at least makes them a lot dimmer. So maybe you can see them just a little bit or just leave a little tiny hole so you can see what the status is of your power, but just make it less bright at night because when you're shooting like this, these are shining right into your face at night and they're blinding you and it's destroying your night vision. I would love to put a switch on these LEDs too, but until I crack it open, I'm not sure that that's going to be possible because they're related to the charging circuit and I don't want to tamper with that. One cool thing about these XL gel blasters, they have single fire mode, 3-shot burst, which is very unique for these inexpensive blasters. Usually it's only high-end blasters that have 3-shot burst, or you have to add like a MOSFET to it and mod it yourself, and full auto. The 3-shot burst is much more useful than single fire because single fire, if you're far away, you're probably not going to hit your target. 3-shot burst gives you a greater chance of hitting your target but wastes less ammo. Full auto is just for all-out fun. So let's see how it fires in single fire. Now, one thing I wanted to comment about this blaster is that it is significantly quieter than other rifle blasters of the same FPS. If you compare how loud this is to a Spiderball, SRB 400, 1200, UNLOCX, or any other rifle style blaster, it's much quieter. UNLOCX is very loud. The Spiderball is still quite loud. This one is quieter. That means you're going to be more discreet when you're firing with this. It's also just quieter when you're playing in the backyard, and it's not going to bring as much attention to you from bystanders. So I'm putting 3-shot burst and full auto. So 3-shot burst, I want to demonstrate that when you pull the trigger, it just does 3 shots and you have to release the trigger and pull again. But you can just pull and release. Another thing I wanted to talk about the trigger is that it's so responsive. Wow, look at that. It must have been confused to start out with because it's already on 1 flashing, so I need to charge this blaster before I use it. As soon as you pull, it shoots. It like pre-primes the piston into the right position that it shoots right away when you pull the trigger. Other blasters, like the Spiderball and stuff that don't have any sensors in there to sense the position of the piston, sometimes depending on the position, they might take a second before they fire when you pull the trigger. Or a split second, really. But you'll see in here, if you look down in here at the plunger, you'll see that it always returns to exactly the same spot. So that means it's always in the right position, ready to shoot. This is the power gauge back here. It shows you where you are within the lowest to highest power range. So at the highest power range, you're supposed to be around 250, although with the Surge XL, it would just randomly shoot close to 250, but in general, it was shooting more like 220, 230 range. That's what the average was, about around 230. So then you can use this tool back here on this nut, which I think is purposefully recessed, so you can set the power lower for kids when they're playing, and they're not going to be able to adjust it themselves. You really need this tool to adjust it. So it takes quite a few turns to adjust it all the way down. If you want to see more details about this, go check out the other Surge XL video. This is the part that really sets the Starfire apart from the other blaster like the Surge XL. So this feed neck has some UV LEDs around the hole here, such that when the glow gels are coming down, they get lit up by this UV LEDs before they enter the feed neck and into the barrel. This requires 2 AAA batteries that go in here, and you have to push the button to start the glow. This works really well, but I'm not crazy about having extra batteries and having to switch them on and off. I prefer the internal tracer mod that I've done in my other videos, and I'm going to do the same thing for this blaster because we love playing at night. It's a lot of fun, but I want to do that internal tracer mod. I also want to do another mod where we continue to use the Starfire unit but have it wired into the blaster. So we're going to hook some wires in here with a connector and have the connector that goes into the blaster and hooks up to the battery in the blaster, such that you don't need extra batteries just to run the Starfire unit. I've also noticed that the switch is quite sensitive on here, so every time I'm not using it, I got to pull the batteries out, because otherwise it can get pushed in and the lights stay on and it's going to run down your battery. The last bit we haven't looked at is the removable stock. Removable stock is pretty decent size. For an adult, it works. It's a little small for me, but I'm a pretty big guy. But actually, it's pretty decent for an adult too. I prefer to just run and gun without the shoulder stock. I feel like the shoulder stock for me gets in the way of things, gets in the way of pulling the rifle up to fire it. That's just personal preference. A lot of people like the shoulder stock. So it's a good thing that it's easy to put on and take off. All right, let's grow some glow gels and see how this thing shoots in the dark. I'm going to give these glow gels exactly 2 hours and see if they're large enough after 2 hours. Usually I glow my gels for at least 4 hours. So it's now been a little over 2 hours, and these glow gels have not grown big enough yet. So let's see how big they are. Just open this slowly when it falls through. 6.75. It should be more in like the 7.5 range. 7. 6.75. That's not big enough yet. So the 2 hour grow time is ambitious. I would leave it more for like 4 hours. I don't know why they're telling people 2 hours. That seems too short. You're just not going to get as good performance with that. So this is with the hop up